So we will say the prayers before starting. Once Maharaj Hare Krishna, your camera is not visible. So in the meantime, while we are saying the prayer, Maharaj will be visible online.
All right.
Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pashtata Deshikarine Ajano Lambito Guto Ganakavadaso Kirtaneka Pitaro Kamalaya Daksho Vishwambaro Jabaro Yugadharma Paulo Vande Jagat Priyakaro Karunavataro Karunavataro Karunavataro. Yeah, we're waiting for Maharaj.
Please. Yeah.
Oh, Maharaj, Maharaj, we are not able to see you.
You have to enable his camera, Braj.
One second. Yes, Prabhu. Allow video. Give me one sec. I allowed his video. Give me one sec. Maharaj, give me one sec. Let me. Yeah. Okay.
There it is. Okay.
Maharaj,
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat, all glories to Prabhupada. Yeah.
All my obeisances to Amrish Prabhu and
Maharaj, Dandavat.
My obeisances to Amrish Prabhu and also blessings to Brajavilas.
Jai.
Maharaj, please accept our humble obeisances.
Jai.
And today we are having the talk about TOVP, a fulfillment of the desire of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Before we start, we would first like to offer our humble and respectful obeisances to His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj, who we are remembering with great affection and appreciation for his tremendous amount of quality of pure devotional service which he rendered at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. Bhakti Charu Maharaj ki jai.
Yeah.
And today we are very, very fortunate to have with us His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, and also co-hosting with me is His Grace Ambarish Prabhu. When he heard that Jayapataka Maharaj is coming on the show, he said, I'm definitely going to be there as a co-host to host the show. And we are fortunate that Maharaj, in spite of his busy schedule, he is in Zoom all over the world every day, constantly. He had taken his time to come for this show called TOVP Talks. And I wanted to give a little introduction about Maharaj. Many of you know about Maharaj, but if I start introducing about Maharaj, the whole show will go only about introducing Maharaj. But I used to always say that Mayapur is incomplete and is incomplete without His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. He has done such a great service for Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada had said that I had given you this estate, please develop. And Maharaj was very instrumental in developing this headquarters in Sridham, Mayapur. Now, a little introduction about Maharaj. Maharaj was born in 1949 in Milwaukee, in the United States of America. He studied in Brown University, joined in ISKCON in 1968 at the age of 18. He took the order of sannyas at the age of 21. This year, we are going to celebrate the 50th sannyas year of His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. Probably the celebration would be in Mayapur. Due to this COVID reasons, we are planning how to do it, but we will, the management of Mayapur and Maharaj disciples will let us know how it is going to be celebrated. And Maharaj is one of the longest serving GBC member of the International Society of Krishna Consciousness. Currently, Maharaj is the senior most sannyasi in the Gaudiya Sampradaya. Maharaj is also the vice president of World Hindu Federation, and he is also the chairman for the TOVP exhibits. and we have Ambrish Prabhu as the chairman for the TOVP. And Maharaj is also the lifetime chairman of Bhaktivedanta Swami Trust. This is a start, a small introduction. Of course, his achievements are far great, and his services, it's huge. It's a very significant service which he had done for Srila Prabhupada. He has almost initiated more than 50,000 devotees, which Srila Prabhupada has asked him to initiate. 50,000 disciples he has all over the world. Maharaj, Hare Krishna, and thank you very much for for participating in this TOVP talks. Now, many of the devotees has asked me to ask this question first. There are many devotees like Shama Vallabha, Rasheshwari, all your disciples, and even Sunanda Prabhu. Many of us want to know, including myself, that can you tell something about your upbringing and how you joined the Krishna consciousness? With this, we will start the show. Over to you, Maharaj.
To know your upbringing and how you joined Krishna consciousness.
I don't know how this relates with the TOVP.
I don't know how this relates with TOVP.
Maharaj, it very much relates to the TOVP because you signify TOVP, and since how many of the devotees are interested to know how you join Krishna consciousness, so that they can understand how this vision has come upon you about this, whatever Srila Prabhupada had given you this instruction, so that you can take this instruction very seriously and make this happen.
I was looking for a spiritual master.
I was looking for a spiritual master.
So I tried different processes.
I tried different processes.
I tried astral projection,
I tried astral projection,
Buddhism,
Buddhism,
Stanga Yoga,
Astanga Yoga,
but the teachers were always, there was no teacher, or the teachers left something to be desired.
but the teachers were always that either no teacher or less something to be desired.
And then I decided I'll go to India
Then I decided to go to India
to find a guru.
to find a guru.
But then I met the devotees
But then I met the devotees
in San Francisco.
in San Francisco,
I was engaged by Jayananda Prabhu
and I was engaged by Jayananda Prabhu
in building the first Rath Yatra.
in building the first Ratha Yatra.
So then I heard a lot about Srila Prabhupada,
Then I heard a lot about Srila Prabhupada,
so I wanted to meet him.
so I wanted to meet him.
So after the Rath Yatra,
So after the Ratha Yatra,
I flew to New York and then to Montreal.
I flew to New York and then to Montreal.
So I visited all the temples in Israel
So I visited all the temples in ISKCON
at that time.
at that time,
And there were only three.
because there were only three:
San Francisco, New York, and Montreal.
San Francisco, New York, and Montreal.
Now it's very difficult.
Now it's very difficult.
There are 800.
There are 800 temples.
So then to visit all 800, you have to really,
So to visit all the 800 temples, you have to be really,
I don't know what to say.
I don't know what to say.
So I met Prabhupada, and he was very merciful to me.
So I met Prabhupada, and he was very merciful to me.
He engaged me in his service.
He engaged me in his service.
He asked me what I wanted to do,
Then he asked me what I'm going to do,
what I wanted to do.
what I wanted to do.
And I told him, well, I thought I should go to India.
I told him that I thought I should go to India.
He said, I'll send you to India,
He said, I'll send you to India,
but first I'll train you up.
but first I'll train you up.
So for about 2 years, I was in Canada,
So for about 2 years, I was in Canada,
and In Montreal, I was at the Toronto Temple.
and also in Montreal and also in Toronto Temple.
And like that, I met, I was engaged by Prabhupada and
So like that, I was engaged by Prabhupada in different services.
So, like a long story short,
To make the long story short,
he sent me to India.
he sent me to India.
And I was first in Calcutta.
I was first in Calcutta.
I was the temple president in Calcutta.
I was the temple president in Calcutta.
There, he gave me a sannyas
There he gave me a sannyas
on Radhashtami Day
on Radhashtami Day
in 1970.
in 1970.
As I said, this is my 50th anniversary of
Yes.
sannyas.
As you said that this is my 50th anniversary of sannyas.
And
Right.
that basically
So that's basically
how I came.
how I came.
On my upbringing,
And about my upbringing,
my grandfather was an industrialist.
my grandfather was an industrialist.
He had a Badger paint company,
He had the Badger Paint Company,
which he sold to the household paint
which he sold to the household paint
at that time in the 1960s
at that time in 1960s
or 50s maybe,
or 50 maybe,
or $54 million.
for $54 million.
So I was brought up in that, and I had a big mansion. He had a,
So I was brought up in that, and he had a big mansion.
and then I went to a military academy
Then I went to military academy
in Milwaukee, and Pewaukee,
in Pewaukee.
and then later I got a scholarship to Brown University.
Then later on, I got the scholarship for Brown University.
I went there.
I went there.
And then I met one professor from Harvard.
But then I met one professor from Harvard.
He was giving a lecture on Lord Buddha,
He was giving a lecture on Lord Buddha,
how Buddha was trying to find out about reincarnation.
how Buddha was trying to find out about reincarnation.
And that made me think,
So that made me think.
and then I wanted to have a guru
Then I wanted to have a
who
guru
would explain these things.
who could explain these things.
What is the purpose of life?
What is the purpose of life?
So anyway, that led me to finally reaching Prabhupada.
So that led me to finally reach Srila Prabhupada.
And I thought my parents would be very happy.
I thought my parents would be very happy.
I wrote to them,
I wrote to them,
but my father was not happy.
but my father was not happy.
He said he'll disown me,
He said he will disown me,
and he'll turn my name over to the draft because I
and he said that
left
he
college.
will turn my name over to the draft because I left the college.
And so I asked Prabhupada
So I asked Prabhupada
that my father wants me to serve in the U.S. Army.
that my father wants me to serve in the U.S. Army.
What should I do?
What should I do?
He said, it's better you serve in Krishna's army.
You better serve Krishna's army.
I've been serving Krishna's army ever since.
So I've been serving Krishna's army ever since.
Jai.
Jai, Jai Maharaj, it's wonderful. You wanted to know about reincarnation. Now through this temple, you are going to teach about reincarnation, probably in your exhibits, which will come. That question will come. Now, as a second question, we wanted to ask you, what is your view on the relation of Lord Nityananda Prabhu's prediction of Adbhut Mandir and the temple of Vedic Planetarium?
We know Lord Nityananda predicted
As we know, Lord Nityananda predicted
that Adbhut Mandir Highway Prakash
Ek Adbhut Mandir Hoibe Kash,
Gauranga Nitya Seva Highway Vikash.
Gauranga Nitya Seva Hoibe Vikash.
So we're trying to build the Adbhut Mandir.
So we are trying to build the Adbhut Mandir,
We don't know if this is the Mandir.
but we don't know whether this is the Mandir.
We're trying our best. I think Amrish Prabhu is trying his best to make it the Adbhut Mandir.
Amrish Prabhu is trying his best to make this Adbhut Mandir.
And the idea that it's the highest temple in India,
The idea is that the highest temple in India,
maybe in the whole world.
maybe in the whole world.
That's certainly Adbhut or wonderful.
So it is certainly Adbhut and wonderful.
We hope that this is the prediction,
So we hope that this is the prediction,
fulfills the prediction.
fulfills the prediction.
But if in subsequent generations someone wants to build a bigger temple,
But if the subsequent generation wanted to build a bigger temple,
we'll be very happy.
we will be very, very happy.
But as far as we know right now,
But as far as we know right now,
this is the Adbhut temple.
this is the Adbhut temple.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful, Maharaj. That was a very, very nice explanation about Adbhut Mandir. Srila Prabhupada, I remember Srila Prabhupada's statement where he said that what is the use of you being American, European, if you cannot build something wonderful in Sridham, Mayapur, as you said, Adbhut translated to wonderful, something very wonderful, which is coming up in Sridham, Mayapur. And now, if you can describe about Srila Prabhupada's personal involvement in visualizing and planning the temple of Vedic Planetarium, because you were there in the early days and Srila Prabhupada used to talk so much about this temple of Vedic Planetarium, which he wants to very much build in Sridham, Mayapur. So if you can tell us about Srila Prabhupada's personal involvement in visualizing this temple of Vedic Planetarium.
See, first, I like to say that even before I went to India, Prabhupada had formed the Mayapur Vrindavan Trust.
Prabhupada had formed the Mayapur Vrindavan Trust.
And one of his members was,
And one of his members
at
was,
that time, Gopal Krishna Das Adhikari.
Gopal Krishna Das Adhikari.
Oh,
He later became Goswami.
He later became Goswami.
He mentioned to me
He mentioned to me
that in the late 60s,
that in the late 60s,
Prabhupada had already talking about Mayapur temple.
Prabhupada had already talking about Mayapur temple.
When I went to Mayapur,
When I went to Mayapur,
I went to India.
I went to India,
We got land.
we got the land.
I forget how many acres, but
I forgot how many acres, but
3 acres.
3 acres.
3 acres.
No, I remember 11 bigas.
I remember 11 bigas.
Okay.
1 biga, 3 bigas is 1 acre.
3 bigas is 1 acre.
Anyway, in that first land,
Anyway, in that first land,
Prabhupada marked out 4 guest houses
4 guest houses
and 1 temple.
and 1 temple.
Right from the beginning, before we had anything,
Right from the beginning, before we had anything,
we had only a grass hut.
we had only grass hut.
He was thinking, I want to make a temple
He
here.
was thinking that I want to make a temple here.
And then, as we got more land,
And as we got more land,
his vision also expanded.
his vision also expanded.
And he engaged various people in making prototype temples.
And he engaged various people in making prototype temples.
Narayana Prabhu,
Narayan Prabhu,
Surabhi Prabhu,
Surabhi Prabhu.
okay. So he engaged many different people.
He engaged many different people.
And they came up with models.
And they came up with many models.
Well, I remember one model had 108 domes.
I remember one model had 108 domes.
like that he had different models.
Like that, he had different models.
So he was very much involved,
So he was very much involved,
and he wanted something wonderful.
and he wanted something wonderful.
I think that
I think that
the temple we have,
the temple we have,
TOVP, is more than any of the prototypes he had designed.
the TOVP is more than any of those prototype he designed.
Certainly he'll be very happy.
Certainly, he'll be very happy.
Maharaj,
Very much involved.
So he was very much involved.
I think that Amrish Prabhu would say something on that.
I think Amrish Prabhu could also say something on that.
Amrish Prabhu, you want to say something on that? Maharaj is requesting you.
Yeah. Of course, I wasn't in Mayapur when he gave me the instruction he gave to me. We were in Detroit, but he was describing all about the temple and that it would confront the modern scientific atheistic theory that's generally accepted. It would confront the scientists. We would have exhibits, that would talk about all the different aspects of Krishna conscious philosophy. And so he asked me at one point, what do you think of this? And I had never been to Mayapur. This is in 1976. So I said, oh, it sounds like a very nice idea. And it did, sounded wonderful. So he said, okay, oh, you like it too, so you can finance. So then, yeah, ever since then, I've had my marching orders. And so, but Maharaj, you've been there on the ground longer than anybody I can remember. So I'd rather hear from you.
Yeah. Maharaj, you said how Srila Prabhupada was totally involved in this project, and how Prabhupada would be so happy that the Temple of Vedic Planetarium, the current design, is far exceeding than all the previous designs, which was a very nice statement which you made. I just also wanted to ask you this, how this TOVP will change the phase of life and preaching in Sridham Mayapur as well as the whole world, because this has a significant effect. Probably this was the question which Amrish Prabhu was supposed to ask you. You wanted to add to this, Amrish Prabhu, because
No. You said everything. That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how it is going to change the preaching in the coming years in Mayapur as well as the whole world?
Having this TOVP temple, definitely an expression
Definitely in expression
that we take very seriously the teachings of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta
that
Swami.
we take very
Mahaprabhu.
seriously the teaching of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada.
And even now the people, millions of people visit every year.
Even now, millions of people visit Mayapur every year.
And in the future,
And in the future,
when the TOVP is open,
when the TOVP is open,
the number should increase multifold.
the number should increase multifold.
And as the Prabhupada said,
As Prabhupada said,
we're trying to present
we are trying to present
the descending knowledge.
the descending knowledge.
Today we had a meeting of the executive committee of the TOVP Planetarium and Exhibits Wing.
Today, we had the meeting of the executive committee of the TOVP Planetarium executive meeting.
Oh, okay.
We were discussing the Prabhupada exhibit script.
And we were discussing Prabhupada exhibit script.
So we want to present how
So we want to present how
the human beings
the human beings
naturally want to know
naturally wanted to
when they
know
look over at the stars,
when they look up at the stars,
who am I?
where am I? Who am I?
Why do I come here?
Why I've come here?
What is the purpose of life?
What's the purpose of life?
So, not the materialistic scientists,
The materialistic scientists,
they say that, well, all these planets, they have no life.
they say that, well, all this planet, they have no life.
But in the Vedas,
But in the Vedas,
it's a description that in every planet,
there is a description that in every planet,
there's life.
there is life.
And that life doesn't necessarily have to
And that life doesn't necessarily have to
be the way that we know it.
be the way that we know it.
So, in our presentation, we're trying to show
In our presentation, we're trying to show
how the Vedic science
how the Vedic science
explains these basic questions that the human being has,
explains the basic questions of that human being has,
and also
and also
gives a cosmology and other things,
gives the cosmology and other things,
some of which we can see,
some of which we can see,
and some is beyond our perception.
some of them are beyond our perception.
This is a very interesting presentation.
So this is a very interesting presentation.
So, to the various limitations,
Due to various limitations,
at this time we're only trying to open up the 2 floors,
at this time we are trying to open up only 2 floors,
the first floor and the 4th floor.
the first floor and the 4th floor.
First, second, 3rd floor we'll do later.
Second and third we will do later.
Now, some of the first floor exhibits,
Some of the first floor exhibits,
second floor exhibits
second floor exhibits
will be on the ground floor.
beyond the ground floor,
And some of the 3rd floor exhibits will be on the 4th floor.
and some of the third floor exhibits will be on the 4th floor, beyond the 4th floor.
So that people will have a little idea
So people will have little idea
of what we want to do when the whole exhibit's over.
what we are going to do with all these exhibit when they open.
But Prabhupada was challenging
But Prabhupada was challenging
that life comes from life,
that life comes from life,
that Vedas are good science,
that the Vedas are good science,
and there's a limit to our material science.
and there are limits to our material science.
But the descending knowledge
But the descending knowledge
that Krishna gives us
that Krishna gives us
has a much higher scope.
has much higher scope.
There's no limit.
There's no limit.
So we have a limit what we can understand by our
So we have
own perception.
limit of what we can understand and with our perception.
And some of the basic questions
And some of the basic questions
are still unanswered.
are still unanswered.
So we want that by coming to the temple, they not only see a temple,
So we want them that by coming to temple, not only they see the temple,
but they actually get some of their life questions answered
but actually get some of their life questions answered
and have established more faith
and have established more faith
in the Vedic vision.
in the Vedic vision.
So I think that this is something very dynamic in the world,
So I think this is something very dynamic in the world.
and it forces people to think
It will force people to think
what is the purpose of life, what they are meant for.
what is the purpose of life and what is the meant for.
So probably wanted that when they see the Lord in temple,
Prabhupada wanted that when they see the Lord in the temple,
they should understand that he descended
that they should understand that he has descended
from the spiritual world.
from the spiritual
That
world,
there is a spiritual sky,
that there is a spiritual sky,
and that we all belong there.
and that we all belong there.
The present pandemic
That during this present pandemic
of the coronavirus,
of the coronavirus,
we realize that this world is not a very healthy and safe place to be.
we realize that this world is not a healthy and safe place to be.
But people don't know what alternatives there are.
But people don't know what alternative there are.
So this temple reveals
So this temple reveals
that the Vedas tell us
that the Vedas tell us
about a world with no death, no birth, no old age, no disease.
about a world where there is no birth, death, old age, and disease.
And we're in a small portion of the universe.
And that we are in a very small portion of the universe.
So I think this can change the way that people think.
That I think this can change the way people think.
Prabhupada was asked,
Prabhupada was asked,
what's his purpose?
what is purpose?
He said, my purpose
He said, my purpose
is to change the way that people think.
is to change the way people think.
So this temple should do that.
So this temple should do that.
Temple of Vedic Planetarium.
Temple of Vedic Planetarium.
Amazing, Maharaj, amazing. You brought in many important points. One of the point which you brought is that for the opening of the Temple of Vedic Planetarium, there will be 2 floors. One is the base level utility floor, where you will show the exhibits of the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd floor. And the 4th floor is the planetarium theater. And of course, you are pushing this so much so that it can be opened in now, of course, 2022 is probably is a little bit difficult, but 23 definitely we can try to open. And also we have engaged Cushman and Wakefield for the planetarium, and a design consultant called Alco, who is also engaged in making this vision into reality. We are very grateful to those team members, also including Sachin and others. Now, Maharaj, how does Temple of Vedic Planetarium, which you said that Prabhupada wanted to challenge the modern atheistic science around the world, how it is going to challenge?
The point is,
a word you said atheistic.
the word you said atheistic.
We're not against science.
We are not against science.
We're not against technology.
We are not against technology.
We're using it now.
We are using it now.
And our exhibits will plan to use,
We are in our
Technology.
exhibits, we are planning to use technology.
but because
But because
they think
that they think
that everything happened accidentally,
that everything happened accidentally,
they're basically atheistic.
they basically atheist.
That aspect
That aspect
we want to challenge.
we wanted to challenge,
Because
because
that's possible.
it's not possible.
Even Einstein,
Even Einstein,
after seeing how everything was working,
after seeing how everything is working,
he said there must be an intelligence behind it.
he said there must be an intelligence behind this.
So Krishna, directly or indirectly,
So Krishna, directly or indirectly,
he had designed in all the unlimited universes.
he designed all these unlimited universes.
So just like Prabhupada said that
Just like Prabhupada said that
in his purports,
in his purports,
scientists have put satellites into these outer space,
the scientist has put some lights in the outer space,
outer satellite,
the satellite in the outer space,
and they're running the satellite from a remote area.
and running the satellite from the remote area.
So certainly that's a wonderful achievement.
Certainly, that's a wonderful achievement.
But then if someone has a greater intelligence
But if someone has a greater intelligence
than a human being,
than human being,
then can he do something more wonderful?
then can't he do something more wonderful?
So the point was that
The point was that
the Supreme Personality of Godhead,
the Supreme Personality of Godhead,
Bhagavan Sri Krishna,
Bhagavan Sri Krishna,
he has unlimited intelligence.
he has unlimited intelligence.
And so therefore,
So therefore,
he could design each universe.
he could design each universe.
And so getting the information from him,
So getting the information from him,
what is the structure of the universe,
what is the structure of the universe,
what are the laws that govern the human beings,
what the laws covered in the human beings,
all these facts
all these facts
we get from the Lord
we get from the Lord
directly.
directly.
That answers a lot of the questions
That answers a lot of the questions
which the human beings, by their scientific exploration,
which the human being, by their scientific explanation,
cannot answer.
cannot answer.
In spite of all the radio telescopes, and
In spite all the telescope,
we still don't know
we,
why we're here.
we still don't know why we are here.
What is our duty?
What's our duty?
So the sages of
So
Naimisharanya,
the sages in Naimisaranya,
they asked these questions.
they asked these questions.
So we're trying to have a Naimisharanya visit.
So we are also planning to have a Naimisaranya exhibit.
We plan to have modern intelligence. And,
We plan to have modern, intelligent.
I met one of the physics Nobel laureates.
I met one of the physics Nobel laureate.
He said
He said,
that 20 years ago,
20 years ago,
he told me I'd be talking with
if you
spiritualists.
if you told me I would have been talking with a spiritualist,
I'd say humbug, impossible.
it's impossible.
But I'm here today
But I'm here today
because we reached a limit in our physics.
because we have reached our limit in physics.
What is consciousness?
What is consciousness?
There's no explanation in modern physics,
There is no explanation in modern physics,
and we don't know.
and we don't know.
So therefore, I'm coming to you to find out.
So therefore, I'm coming to you to find out.
Maybe I'll learn something.
Maybe I'll learn something.
So the open scientists
So the open scientists
are looking
are
for
looking
answers.
for answers.
So the common people
So the common people
are bewildered,
are bewildered,
and a lot of the things they don't know.
and a lot of things they don't know.
So I met the chief minister of Assam some years ago,
I met the chief minister of Assam some years ago,
and his idea was completely different.
and his idea was fully different.
And so the Aryans came from Europe,
He said the Aryans came from Europe.
and he had a completely wrong idea.
He had completely wrong idea.
When I explained that how the Vedas say the Aryans were in India,
When I explained how the Aryans, they were in India,
and then when Parshuram was killing the Kshatriyas,
and Parshuram was killing the Satriyas,
many of them fled to Europe.
many of them fled to Europe.
Then I said, that makes sense, but I never heard that before.
He said that it makes sense. I never heard this before.
People don't know,
People
even in
don't.
India, they don't know what the Indian scripture says.
People don't know, even Indians, they don't know what the scripture says.
And the Vedic literatures
The Vedic
are
literatures,
very scientific.
very scientific.
They talk about medicine,
They talk about medicine,
about architecture,
architecture,
about astronomy,
about astronomy,
so many things.
so many things.
And I think the West, they need this information.
So I think the West, they need this information.
So maybe by making this temple
By
and
maybe by
having
making
this
this temple,
exhibits,
by making this exhibit,
force people to pay attention.
will force people to pay attention.
and make them think,
It will make them to think
what is the purpose of life?
what is the purpose of life
And how there is a supreme personality Godhead.
and how there is a supreme person of
In
Godhead.
the Brahma Vaivarta
In
Purana,
Brahma Vaivarta Purana,
Krishna predicted
Krishna predicted
that 5,000 years after the beginning of Kali Yuga,
that 5,000 years after the beginning of Kali Yuga,
there'll be a 10,000 golden age.
there will be 10,000 years of golden age,
Everybody will be God conscious.
that everybody will be God conscious.
And so the TOVP comes at the beginning of this 10,000 years.
So the TOV comes at the beginning of the 10,000 years.
So let's bring it in.
So let's bring it in.
Amazing statement which you made, that actually my next question was that, because Sarvajay Madhav Prabhu, one of your disciples, told me to ask you what is the connection between the golden age and the TOVP, and you just immediately you just answered that question, that TOVP is the beginning of the golden age. Now, before I go to the next question, probably Amrish Prabhu, you have any questions, because you wanted to ask Maharaj's personal role. But before I go to the next question, in the meantime, Amrish Prabhu will think about that question about Maharaj's personal role in the TOVP. I am going to put a polling question where everybody can answer, and you have 15 seconds to answer this polling question. Now, my first polling question, which I'm going to launch the polling question as soon as it is launched. Please, I'm asking all the viewers to take 15 seconds in answering these questions, and we are very, very grateful to all those who are participating today. I've launched the question. The question is, the TOVP is multifaceted project with many purpose to serve. Which aspect of the TOVP interests you the most? It's a multiple choice. The first choice is the temple itself, the deities, kirtan festivals, preaching opportunities, the planetarium wing, the universal chandelier, the exhibits. So I'm going to end the poll now, and I'm going to publish the results, which Maharaj also can see. I'm going to end the poll. The poll is ended, and I'm going to share the results. Now, 58% of devotees have said the TOVP main purpose is the preaching opportunities which it has, which Maharaj also said that it would preach, and this is the starting of the golden era, next 10,000 years, which Srila Prabhupada is the founder acharya for the golden age, and the temple of Vedic Planetarium will serve the preaching opportunities through this temple. 58% of the devotees have polled for the preaching opportunities. Then we have the next one is the temple itself. The temple itself, everybody is saying the temple itself is the main purposes. Then we have the planetarium wing. 39% of devotees have voted the planetarium wing, that the TOVP, the major aspects of the TOVP is also the planetarium wing. The universal chandelier is 37%, along with the deities. And the exhibits is polled 39%, and everybody is very enthusiastic to see about the exhibits. Maharaj will, I'm going to ask Maharaj the next question, probably after Amrish Prabhu, asking about the personal role of Maharaj. So thank you all for polling this. We are going to come up with another poll questions. In the meantime, Amrish Prabhu is going to ask Maharaj about the personal role. Prabhu, can you?
So you're giving me a question to ask Jayapataka Swami. Is that right?
I'm just giving you a hint.
Okay.
But in the meantime,
Maharaj,
before you ask, you ask, I have to also tell Mother Swaha has also conveyed obeisances to Maharaj, which I forgot to tell in the beginning, but I just remembered. Probably you can ask the question.
My best wishes to Mother Swaha.
My best wishes to Mother Swaha.
I'm not going to ask your question. You can ask it yourself, Braj. I wanted to know from Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, This temple, of course, will be the center of Mayapur and the center of the Krishna conscious movement. Srila Prabhupada, however, wanted a whole city in Mayapur. Beyond the temple, how do you see the city of Mayapur developing? What is your vision?
Prabhupada said, I give you the spiritual world.
I give you the spiritual world.
Now develop it.
Now develop it.
Very good.
It's a kind of contradiction.
It's kind of a contradiction.
How can you develop the spiritual world?
How to develop a spiritual world?
But there's a team working on a master plan
There
of
is a team working on the master plan of Mayapur.
and then I was present when of course Prabhupada was trying to get
I was present, and of course, Prabhupada was trying to get
350 acres
350 acres
from the government,
from the government.
and then it was going through the different steps of the government.
And then it was going through the different steps of the government.
But then the government changed,
But then the government changed.
and the communist government changed.
And then the communist government came in charge.
So they were not interested to help us.
They were not interested to help us.
Recently, the present TNC government,
So recently, the present TMC government,
they have given us
they have given us
the land quota
the land quota
to hold 750 acres,
to hold 750 acres,
which is like a huge breakthrough.
which is a huge breakthrough.
And that I feel we at least have the land.
At least that actually,
We have to buy the land,
we have to buy the land.
but we can now there's no limit in the 750 acre limit,
But now the 750 acres limit,
which is before we had a 23 acre limit.
which before we had 23 acres limit.
So now we're trying to develop the
So now we are trying to develop the
whole city
whole city
and Prabhupada mission.
that Prabhupada had visioned.
Yeah.
So they tend to have a large road
So we are trying to have large roads
to the Jangri River
to the Jalangi River
from the TOVP,
from the TOVP,
and then to Caitanya Avenue from Bhaktivinoda Thakur's house
Chaitanya Avenue from Bhaktivinoda Thakur's house
to the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya,
to the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya,
and a road to the east of Prabhupada's Samadhi.
and a road to the east of Srila Prabhupada Samadhi.
So then different parks and Harinam Stadium and
Different parks, Harinam stadiums,
theme parks,
theme parks,
guest houses.
guest houses.
So it would take a long time to explain, but
It will take a long time to explain, but
there's definitely a vision
there's definitely a
for
vision
the temple, for the city development.
for the city development.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you very much. Thank you.
There were many questions. Some of them are asking. Very interesting to know when the opening of the temple. As I said earlier, we definitely wanted to open in 2022, but because of this COVID, we lost almost 5 months. So we would do something very grand in 2022, but whatever month we lost in 2020, that in 2023, those months would be used, 4 or 5 months which we lost in 2020 because of COVID. So we will definitely make sure, and we are very, very committed, and Amrish Prabhu and Jayapataka Maharaja very committed to open this temple. The sooner we wanted all the devotees who are supporting us all these years, that you please pray for us and support the way which you did, or even more, and we would definitely keep our commitments, the temple and the planetarium together, we would try to open at least by 2023. Now, Maharaj, my next question, after this, I would like to do one more polling question, is that Amrish Prabhu was supposed to ask this, but I'm going to ask that if you can tell something about your personal role in planning the TOVP planetarium and exhibits. You are putting so much energy in the exhibits. You had so many meetings. You wanted to see this happen. You told me many times when I met you in Chennai before the operation, you wanted to see this planetarium opened along with the temple. You're so dedicated. So if you can tell us what is the plans which you are personally doing to see this planetarium come up.
I was sitting in the room when Srila Prabhupada was
I was sitting in the room and Srila Prabhupada was
instructing
Sadaputa Prabhu
about the Vedic Planetarium.
about the Vedic Planetarium.
And he wanted the Bhagavatam cosmology to be presented.
He wanted the Bhagavatam cosmology to be presented.
I was listening.
So I was just listening.
Then Prabhupada turned to me.
Then Prabhupada turned to me.
Said, "You understand this also."
He said, "You understand this also."
Lord Buddha was a scientist, PhD.
Sadaputa Prabhu was a scientist, PhD.
He had all the qualifications.
He had all the qualifications.
I didn't have much,
I didn't have much,
except
except
I was willing to serve
I
Prabhupada.
was willing to serve Prabhupada.
But he asked me,
But he asked me.
and now Sadaputa is not here.
So now Sadaputa Prabhu is not here.
Sudama is not here.
Sarup Damodar Maharaj is
So
not
I'm
here.
trying to unite a
So I'm trying to unite
team.
a team.
And so we have,
So we have,
I'm the servant of Amrish Prabhu,
I'm the servant of Ambarish Prabhu,
but I'm chairing the west wing of the TOVP.
but I'm chairing the west wing of the TOVP.
And so I wanted to gather some qualified people.
I wanted to gather some qualified people.
So we had Hari Suri, who was Prabhupada's servant,
We have Hari Sauri Prabhu, who is Prabhupada's servant,
Ramesh Prabhu, who was the
Rameshwar Prabhu, who is the
BBT trustee before,
BBT trustee,
and we have Antadeep, who was the he helped with the TOVP
Antardev Prabhu, who helped the TOVP
with the chandelier design,
with the chandelier design.
and then we got Akhandari Prabhu,
Then we got Akandadi Prabhu,
who he has been interfacing with the
he's been interfacing
scientists.
with ISKCON scientists.
So we want to have our presentation
So we want to have our presentation
be relevant to modern science.
be relevant to the modern science.
Because we want it to be acceptable to the scientists.
We wanted to be acceptable by the scientists.
So that we have a whole team of
So like that, we have a
Purikama Prabhu
whole team like Drutakarma Prabhu,
and Devanatha Prabhu,
Dinanath
who
Prabhu,
was building the exhibitions in Delhi.
who was building the exhibition in Delhi.
And like that, we have a team,
So like that, we have a team
and we're trying to develop the
and we are trying to develop the
planetarium exhibits.
planetarium exhibits.
We have the narration of all the exhibits.
So we have the narrations for all these exhibits.
We have a basic floor plan,
We have a basic floor plans,
and the detailed script
the detailed script
take a little time to develop.
are taking a little time to develop
But we have now 4 divisions:
because now we have 4 divisions,
a construction division,
a construction division,
a creative division.
a creative
Now
division.
this, our creative director,
Now this, the creative director,
Jayapataka Prabhu,
Jagannath Tirtha Prabhu,
he won something like 13 MEs
He wants like 13 Emmys
in USA.
in USA.
Like an ME is like a TV equivalent of an Oscar.
Emmy, it's like a TV equipments of Oscar.
He's a very qualified person.
So he won 13 Emmys like the Oscar. So he's a very qualified person.
And then we have finance,
Then we have finance.
and we have administration.
And then we have administration.
Within that, there's so many things.
So within that, there are so many things.
Fundraising and
Fundraising,
human resources,
human resources,
etc.
etc.
So we're trying to do things in a very systematic way.
So we are trying to do things in a very systematic way.
And that's so my role is
So my role is
basically to get every people together
basically get all the people together,
and see that the work goes on
see that the work goes on,
and give whatever input I can.
and give whatever input I can.
Maharaj, wonderful. Now I wanted to do a polling question, but I'm running out of time. But I'm going to make a very important announcement. Maharaj, this you are going to hear for the first time. I've never told you this, but because Amrish Prabhu wanted to make this thing to you today. The next year is the 125th appearance year of Srila Prabhupada on the Temple of Vedic Planetarium. Amrish Prabhu has decided to install Srila Prabhupada Murti in the Temple of Vedic Planetarium. We are going to have a very big festival in bringing Srila Prabhupada and installing him. It is currently being made in United States of America by Lochan Prabhu. We wanted to install the Murti of Srila Prabhupada on February 27th, which will be a grand function if the pandemic allows us to do it. We are waiting how till this year we will come to know how well the circumstances are. Based on that, we might in case if the circumstances are not favorable, we have to change the dates. But right as of now, optimistically, we are going to install Srila Prabhupada, because Srila Prabhupada used to always come before the temple is opened and push us so that the temple can be open. It is going to be a very, very big festival. I'm also going to come to you, Maharaj, for this. And second thing is, on the 26th February, we are also going to open the Samadhi of His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj. That is the plan. If the GBCs are not able to come attend due to COVID reasons, the Samadhi will be opened and we'll have virtual programs. And next time when the GBC meet, we will have a very great opening. And we are also going to have a huge Prabhupada worldwide Abhishek for the 125th year, which we are going to launch like you did, Maharaj, for the Rath Yatra and others. We are going to have a virtual Abhishek for Srila Prabhupada on the 125th year. This is going to be a very big celebrations. There are several opportunities to sponsor the Abhishek for Srila Prabhupada. Please visit our website www.tovp.org for more information on the Prabhupada installation celebrations by the Temple of Vedic Planetarium. Maharaj, my last question to you is that Prabhupada named you Jayapataka Swami, which means victory flag. And in TOVP also, to honor your service for Srila Prabhupada and your dedication to Srila Prabhupada, we have created an opportunity called victory flag. And we will be victorious and we will open this temple definitely by 23 by your mercy. And this Sankirtan movement through this temple will be victorious. And Maharaj, what is your secret of that victory.
The secret is
The secret is
a secret.
secret.
No, it's the mercy of Srila
It's
Prabhupada.
the mercy of Srila.
Jai.
Jai.
Jai. Hari Bol.
By His mercy,
By His mercy,
everything is going on.
everything is going on.
And
Jai.
so, definitely, I've been giving, combining all the books
I've been combining all the books
that I could get my hands on
that I can get my hands on
of Caitanya Leela,
of Caitanya Leela,
about 7 or 8 books.
about 7 or 8 books.
And actually, Lord Caitanya,
Actually, Lord Chaitanya,
he had predicted that he would preach all over India,
he had predicted that he would preach all over India,
but he would send a Senapati Bhakta
but he would send a Senapati Bhakta
who would come after 500 years
who would come after 500
and
years
spread Krishna consciousness
and spread Krishna consciousness
throughout the world.
throughout the world.
That was Prabhupada.
And that is
Jai.
Prabhupada.
Jai.
So he wanted that this temple of Vedic Planetarium
So he wanted this temple of Vedic
as
Planetarium
his offer to Lord Chaitanya.
as his offering to Lord Chaitanya.
So he wants it. It's a great opportunity we have
So he wants it. So it's a great opportunity we have
to serve His divine grace.
to serve His divine grace.
I think that
So I think that
we all are indebted to Him.
we are all indebted to Him.
Every one of us,
Every one of us
unlimited mercy.
have unlimited mercy
And because He went to the West
because He went to the West
and He went around the world like
and He went around the world
11 or 14 times, I don't know,
14 times,
I lost track. And spreading Krishna consciousness
spreading Krishna consciousness
in every continent.
in every continent.
Therefore, we are very grateful to Him.
Therefore, we are very grateful to Him
We want to do what He wants.
and wanted to do what He wants.
He wanted that the Mahaprabhu was these United Nations of the spiritual
He
world.
wanted that Mayapur should be the united nation of the spiritual world.
And that fact that
And the fact that
people from all over the world
people from all over the
are
world
cooperating together
are cooperating together
to build this TOVP
to build this TOVP
is something very wonderful.
is something very wonderful.
America, China,
America, China,
they're loggerheads now.
they are on loggerheads now.
But we have Chinese devotees, American devotees, Russian devotees,
But we have Chinese
All over the world.
devotees, American devotees, Russian devotees, all over the world
who are willing to help,
who are willing to help,
who are helping.
for helping.
So I think that
So I think that
in spite of all these challenges put up by the COVID situation,
in spite of all these challenges put up by the COVID situation,
somehow we should do our level best to
somehow we should do our level best
fulfill Prabhupada's desire.
to fulfill Prabhupada's desire.
Jai.
Maharaj, thank you very,
Thank
very
you,
much
Maharaj. Ki
for
Jai.
participating. Ambrish Prabhu, thank you very much for being here and supporting us. And we thank all the viewers and participants who have participated in this program. Lastly, as Maharaj said, that this temple of Vedic Planetarium is the beginning of the golden era, and the message of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will be spread from this temple to every town and village. Thank you all very much. We are very grateful to you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Prabhupada. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Jai. Haribol. 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 Jai.
Thank you for your association.